Okay, hello. So, one of memory again triggered. I mean, the memory was always there. It just it has nothing to do with any of the previous things I've actually talked about. I was saying some stuff with a coworker today, and started talking about it. And I just decided, I'm gonna talk about this. It's a touching subject matter that it can be disturbing to some people. And it's about me, and it's something that a lot of people do not know about because it's only been over the last couple of years I've actually only talked about it, and because I generally do not. But so it has to do with about depression. Now, I was talking to my coworker this morning about, I don't feel withdrawn so much anymore. I don't feel like I'm going into a depression like I felt that I was. Because anorexia can trigger depression, at least to me. She was sharing something about someone that she knew. And different things can come with depression. Well, in my 20s, and like I said, a lot of people do not know this. There's some family that know about this now because I've talked about it. And first and foremost, I just want to say this. One, it doesn't mean that you're a weak person, because I am by far not a weak person. I've never been a weak person. Naive, yes. Not know about life, yes. Different, and that just has to do with everybody wanting to keep me sheltered when I was young, growing up. Which was, in my opinion, very bad and very wrong, because it made me into a naive person and just somebody that didn't know anything about, certain things until I had to experience them. Now, I didn't start off in my 20s with depression. I think it triggered at some point in time. I'd get sad, I'd feel lonely, and which caused me to go into depression at certain time periods, especially being unhappy. I was unhappy a lot in my 20s. I was married into a family on my mother-in-law's side of the family that I did not get along with at all. Fought and argued with them. I had a smart mouth, and my smart mouth was actually a defense for me to fight against them. It didn't work, but it was my defense mechanism. My wall. I put a wall up, a barrier. Something would be said to me, and I'd quickly snap back at it. Right approach? No, I know that now. Then I was told by my aunt and my father-in-law. When I say aunt, Aunt Marie, my father-in-law Ollie, tried talking to me on different occasions, especially my aunt. And I'll say I didn't listen, because I didn't. I tried to reason and say it, they say things about me I don't like, and it hurts me. And then that hurt after so long, and it wasn't years of hurt, okay? It wasn't that. It was, when I say after so long, it was probably after, I don't know, a couple of years. By the time when I was 21, because I entered the family when I was 18. So you figure about, okay, 3 years of being badgered, made fun of, picked on, bullied. I had adult bullying. I reached a point of, and this has to do with even my blood family. My blood mother can be very abusive. Cursing you, just cursing in general, going off in violent rant tangents. It had finally taken its toll on me. That was my life growing up with her. And now I enter a family Tony's mom's side of the family that said all this stuff all the time, and I just had enough. So the hurt, there was no more hurt. The hurt feelings turned into anger, and I would demonstrate that. But I had depression on and off in my 20s. I was miserable. I was unhappy. I didn't think I was loved. Um, you know, yeah, family says, yeah, I love you and all that kind of whatever stuff. But there was times I didn't think I was loved. And I have stressed this, and I mean it, and it's not from these guys. The Waltman family, my uncles, my father-in-law, Ollie, my Aunt Marie, they love me. They let me know they love me. They told me they love me all the time. I had never a reason or a doubt in my mind that they did not ever love me. They showed it. They demonstrated it. They weren't happy at any time with my mouth, I can tell you that, regardless of what other people seem to believe. Did I get punished for it? Yes, I did. Sounds weird and strange, I know, but I did. I got reprimanded for it. It was a sign of disrespect. What happened away from how I was around, I don't know, and I have said I don't care. But anyway, away from that, the depression in my 20s became worse, especially in 1991, after my father-in-law passed away and was buried. And after that, upon his burial, my aunt, whom I loved, my Aunt Marie, her and I got into, I'll say, confrontation. We exchanged words. Actually, I exchanged words with her. She said stuff to me that she was told about, and I'll touch on that later because I am going to do a whole entire video on what actually happened and took place, because it was very damaging. It was not meant by her, only at the moment, because she was told stuff that was not true. And her and I'll say an argument. I turned it into an argument because of my attitude. I was hurt by it. I was hurt, and my hurtness feelings within moments, minutes, turned into anger. My anger turned into rage, not physically from me, because I would never have raised my hand to my aunt, ever. Oh, yeah, I would have gotten spanked. People don't like hearing that, but I'm sorry. I would have if I ever raised my hand to her. I know so. That's something you don't do, if somebody wants to hear about that or not. It never had to be mentioned. I know I would have. So, I didn't do that, but I cursed. Like I said, I'm going to do a whole entire video on that one soon, because it's one that really bothers me. I'm also going to do the one on the time that I got a whipping. I just keep mentioning it because it did really happen too, if people want to believe that or not. And I will say this because I just mentioned it. Not abuse, okay? So it wasn't abusive, nor did I ever think it. So anyway, I was depressed in my 20s. I think just because I was so unhappy around these families, them, Rosa's side. The treatment I received, my marriage was always rocky. After we were Motel 6 managers, it just progressed because of all the meddling of everything that took place. So in 91, after the funeral, and my aunt and I had some words over a course of, it was like an hour. And then some other stuff took place, and then in a couple months later, she pretty much told me goodbye, which hurt my feelings. She knew it hurt my feelings, and I was saddened. After she left, everything just went nosedive from there. I became withdrawn gradually, depressed gradually, It wasn't that I woke up and instantly I was depressed. No, it was a gradual spiral. And in 91, it just started spiraling down from the event of my father-in-law passing away to my aunt leaving, and then everything else was a spiral downhill. When 1992 rolled around, March 31st of 1992, Tony and I separated. Wanted a divorce. Definitely depression sat in. Definitely then too. Kept going and going downward. It was about August of 1992. The depression had already finally taken its toll. And I didn't think, why live? And I attempted suicide. That might come to a shock to a lot of people that don't know this. I have told only a couple family members, and a handful of people only know about this. Well, maybe a little bit less than 10. Let's put it that way. No. And they only know. There's more people that know now only because I've talked about it. I started talking about suicide attempt when Robin Williams committed suicide. That's when I started talking about it. And I reached a level of deep depression. Dark depression is what I would have referred to it as. I don't have time right at this moment to go into any details regarding it. But so long story short, obviously I was crying, feeling worthless, pretty much, feeling lonely, feeling like nobody around cared. I figured, I'm 28 years old now. Life is over. The family that I love so much, I'm never going to see again. When I see the family I love so much, the Waltman family, my father-in-law was dead. Dead and buried. I was never going to see him again. My aunt, who I loved so much, said goodbye to me August of the previous year. And I never saw her again. Just talked to her on the phone. But I felt that I didn't have any friends around, anyone I could talk to. Everybody was kind of like doing their own thing. Just lonely. I just felt really lonely. And life had no meaning left to me. I was in a very dark place. Kind of like a prison cell, I don't know. But a very dark and lonely place. And anyway, I had codeine. They weren't my prescription. It was actually given to me by somebody else that I knew, and gave it to me because I would have so much pain during my monthly cycle. And I had 2 bottles of it. I decided one day I'm taking a handful of them, and I did. I took about 30 codeines. They were 500 milligrams each per tablet. 500 milligrams times 30. That's how much I took. Figured it would just put me to sleep, stop my heart. That would have been the easy way out. For several minutes, I sat there on the bed, and I just finally kind of like laid down because I started feeling the effect of the codeine. I've taken codeine before, of course, so I know what it feels like. And I started thinking of all kinds of stuff. Why I was doing it? Who would care if I was even here or not? Of course, I was crying, like I said. And marriage was over. everything. I thought about time spent with my aunt and how I was never going to see her again. Time with my father-in-law and how I was never going to see him again because he's dead. Um, the family I was never going to see again. Tony just didn't give a shit. Just different things like that was spinning through my mind. I didn't think about how it was going to affect anybody who actually really did, I guess, love me. Because at the moment, I didn't think anybody did. Because I was convinced no one did. I said, the woman that I loved so much like a mother abandoned me. The way I looked at it, pretty much. My husband, who was supposed to love me, didn't care. He only cared about himself. Very self-absorbed. So, I was going to end my life. Because I saw no hope, no future, and nothing past today. And that's pretty much how depression is. Pretty much anybody that has depression can tell you the same thing. I never sought help for it, seeked help for it. I just let it run its course. But anyway, what stopped me, because I'd already swallowed those pills, I don't know, several minutes went by. And I started, like I said, feeling the effects of it. And of the codeine. The thought that crossed my mind was, because I'm a Christian, is, I wonder if I go to hell. Hell's forever. I can't get out of hell if I'm there. That's what stopped me. Well, like I said, I already swallowed the codeine. And I would go as far as saying that it probably would have killed me, because a couple years ago I found out that I'm allergic to opiates. And my heart stopped. Can't take opiates. Codeine's an opiate. So it probably would have killed me. I rolled off my bed and crawled to the bathroom. I knew how to self-induce vomiting, and I self-induced vomiting. Some of the pills came up whole. Some were dissolved or dissolving already. And I didn't drink anything because I knew not to. I didn't call poison control or anything like that, but I did self-induce vomiting. And just stood there and cried in the bathroom. And then I went back into the bedroom where I was at these people's house that I knew, where I lived at, closed and locked the door. I just stayed in there and I cried. And I cried for the longest time. And I got a hold of a friend and said, I need you to come get me when you can. He's like, okay, well, it'll probably be next week. I'm like, can it be sooner? Like, now? He's like, what's wrong? And I said, I can't be here. And he goes, what happened? And I said, I don't want to talk about it. What did you do? And I wouldn't say. He was there that night. And I packed for several weeks, actually. I went and stayed with them for about 6 weeks. His brother and him watched me around the clock. My brother came over. So you could say that I was on suicide watch. I told the person, his name's Scott, on the way back to Fontana, and I lived in San Bernardino at the time. I told him, all he said was to me is, what did you take? He already knew. I didn't have to tell him that I attempted suicide. He knew. He knew me since I was 14 years old. And he knew I was in a depressive state to begin with. And so they watched me, and while I was there, I journaled, kind of, sort of. But I wrote my Aunt Marie a real long letter. Because I didn't know where she was at to call and talk to her. So I wrote her a letter about it, about everything. It was long. It was a lengthy page letter, probably 5-6 pages back to back, because I could write if I wanted to, like I still can now. And I forget when she got that letter. It was probably Um, Maybe a month later, after, my 6 weeks of suicide watch was over, 'cause I wrote to her about that. As soon as she got that letter and read it, she was on that phone to me. That was the longest phone call I ever had with her, ever. It was something like 45 minutes to an hour, a little over an hour long. It was a long conversation. She was not happy with what I had wrote. She was very calm at first on the phone. She never yelled at me. But she was out of state. She got that letter, so she had to have been in Missouri. Went back to Missouri. Because that's where all her mail. I believe she was in Missouri when she received it. Or she had the letter and she was on the road traveling and stopped at Thousand Trails. But I don't think so, because that conversation was a lengthy conversation. So I think she was in Missouri when she received that letter and opened it and read it. And after reading it, took up moments at lunch. Took moments to compose herself, compose her thoughts. She told me after she read that letter, she cried. And so, like I said, when she talked to me on the phone, she started out calm. Well, I was in my bedroom when the phone call came, and one of the kids of the house came and said, your aunt's on the phone. And I said, my Aunt Marie, is on the phone. I took that phone call right away, and I said, don't come in and disturb me. And shit. Me and that horn. And so she said several things to me. Why? First, are you okay? I am now. What did you do? What did you take? It was all in the letter. But she wanted to hear it from me. And I told her. She asked me, where did you get those pills? Are they a prescription? I said, no, ma'am, they weren't. They were given to me by who? And I told her the people that I stayed with, and she knew of them. She met them once at the Motel 6 after Ollie's death, and I had to take their car back, and she met her and didn't like her. But and I said, her sister-in-law gave them to me. She goes, what's the name on the pill bottle? Where are they? Do you still have them? Yes, ma'am, there's some on my shelf. Read to me on the pill bottle what it says. And I did. She said, how many do you have left? And I said, a whole entire bottle full that had something like 90 in them. And my aunt, like I said, she wasn't in California. She was out of state. And she was, why I'm on the phone with you, I want you to take them and I want you to go throw them in the toilet. So I'm like, okay. So I did as she said, and with the phone, I even went like this with the phone receiver. We didn't have cell phones back then in 92. And so she could hear the pills drop into the toilet. Flush. I went back into my bedroom, closed the door, and locked it. And the thing about it is, like, I told her the person's name, but Anne had ripped off the stuff off the bottle when she gave them to me. So I told her, where it came from. My aunt, I believe, probably would have, I don't know, either got a hold of her or I'm not sure exactly. She wanted to know who gave me those coatings. I got the lecture from hell, okay? I say it like that only because, my aunt has lectured me before. Not like this. She was extremely stern. And so I don't want anybody to think that's abusive, because it wasn't. I understand now as an older adult. I'm 55 years old. I was 28 years old then. She was 64, 65. So large age difference. And I know how she felt towards me. So for her to be stern and strict over the phone, you better believe she was going to be. I tried to kill myself, and she was not happy. So since I know how to pause my phone now, I'm going to pause this. I have to go drive, and I will get back to this. If it comes off a pause for some reason while I'm driving, there'll be a part 2, because this is part 1 then.